Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. All right, double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, whom taught us this truth. Shalom to the brothers and the very few sisters seeking and pushing Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, Bahasham, Rakakwadash, in truth and in sincerity. All right, Lord willing, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, rock desire the lesson, be edifying, correct, and direct, defeat the lambs of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. All right, I'm the brother Adanya from the GMS Chicago branch. All right, and I titled this lesson, Working to be on the right-hand side of the script, man. All right, working to be on the right-hand side of the script. And I'm going to start with this Second Esdras, man. All right, this is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 9, starting at verse 7. It says, And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works, which shows you that it's not just only God could judge me, lip service, flattering, God know my heart. No, it's the works that we doing, man. What are we doing here on the earth? It's only being recorded by the heavens and the angels and the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. He only gonna make you answer for everything that you done, think, and said. You know, so it's the things that we do. Scripture say, work the works of him that sent me, man. You know, which is what this truth. All right, being involved in this ministry. All right, the sacrificing of your life, the giving it to the Lord, becoming the Lord's servant, putting on as the elect. All right, that's what we working for. We working to be on the right hand side of the script. We working to be on the right hand side of the story. All right, that's why you don't see the men of the Lord just getting caught up with this world, man, because broad is the way to destruction, man. All right, once you get aware and the Lord knock you upside the head with this word and this truth, you know, you are being held accountable, man. Whether you want to believe it, whether you want to adhere to it, whether you want to be obedient to it, or you want to be wicked and disobedient, man. You know, you're regardless that what you're doing is getting recorded. All right, and the elect they gonna be pardoned and saved by Yahweh Shem Shai. Why? Because their works and the works of the world are different, man. You know, and the Lord, that's why the Lord said who gonna lay charge to any of the his own elect, man. All right, that's how you know it's a thing of action and what we doing, man. All right. It says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby you have believed shall be preserved from the said perils and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. All right. It says, Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits, and have not known me. And they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. So think about all these people who you've came across in your walk, man. All these people who came across in your walk, all right, you told them that we the Israelites, you might have gave them the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. And then what do? They just cast it behind their back, man. All right, this is the time. Like, this is the time that we got to show the Lord our faith, man, by our works, man. This is the time, not running into the world and following after these things, offending less and polishing and being sincere in front of the Lord. But what do these people do? What do the people that came across the prophets and left and just misused and abused them? What they go off and do? They go off and wax worse and worse, man. You know, that's how you know. That's how you know their lot and their role and what their fate will be, man. All right, you looking at their actions, man. All right, you get this word. We try to uphold it to the best of our ability in truth and sincerity and apply it, man. You know, that's why you see the men of the Lord out there on the highways and byways week in, week out, motivated by fear. You know, this world, man, is a prideful place. With the fear of the Lord is not here, man. You know, and that's fine because the prophets, all right, are here to remind you to fear the Lord, and now everybody's gonna fall into their light. All right, that's why the Lord, it's like not that's why, but you know, the Lord said that this truth had to be spread to the four corners, man. All right, because why? Nobody's gonna be without excuse in this time, man. All right, it's like it. It's the book of Joshua. It's like it. So I'm making slow. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 14. It says, Now therefore fear the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Which is all of these things, man. Egypt coming out of that place of bondage. All right, we coming out of our place of bondage, man. All right. All of these different ways. Happy wife, happy life. Queen of heaven. Black woman is God. Islam, Buddha, all those things. Put all that shit away, man. You know? Or something for your ass, man. All right. Verse 15, it says, and if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, choose you this day whom you will serve. All right, this is an active thing. All right, who are we yielding our actions to, man? Who are we yielding our members to, man? What are we using with this body, man? Are we working toward righteousness, or are you just bringing in from the flesh, man? You just raking in to the flesh, sowing and reaping according to the flesh, man. That's what the world doing. You know what is our actions? What distincts us from serving the Lord? Is every day walking in His truth, man. Doing the lessons, being involved in the ministry, preaching, man. All right, being amongst the body, dwelling with the brothers, man. All right, this is how we serve the Lord. If that seem evil unto you, are you just you're gonna fall into the light of broad is the way to destruction, man. You know. Say if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, choose you this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods which your father served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right, and that's what we doing actively, man. We're actively serving Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, day in and day out. All right, it's not to say anyone is perfect. It's just to say that it's on our mind, man. All right, we try to yield our body to work the works of righteousness, man. You know, and then that's what separates the hopeful elect. All right, and 2/3, because what these people, man, they don't care. They say they don't care. They going to hell. All right, they say all manner of things. These people have accepted that fiery judgment. All right, which is the lake of fire, thermonuclear destruction, and its upcoming World War III. These people have accepted that fact, man. But even, hey, I didn't want to go to hell before the truth, man. In the world, I didn't want to go to hell, man. You know. That concept of hell that they teach. And I definitely don't want to get hit by the nukes and all that from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. No. All right, so what? Being motivated with fear, we're going to work the works of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. You know, everybody else about to get caught up in this judgment, this destruction, is that great bosom of destruction, man. So like it. This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 15, verse 12. And they entered into a covenant to seek the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, power of their fathers, with all their heart and with all their soul, that whosoever would not seek Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, power of Israel, should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman. This how the Lord feel. If you ain't serving Him, you against Him. If you ain't sowing unto Him and building up, all right, His glory, building, working for the glory of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. If you're not with Him, you against Him, man. And ultimately, man, the Lord gonna end up putting your ass to death, man. You know, that's why we move with the fear that we move with, man. The men of the Lord are motivated by fear. That's why they go out there and get the blood off their hands by preaching to in the midst of this wicked and perverse evil world, man. You know, I'm gonna read verse 13 again. It says that whosoever would not seek the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, power of Israel, should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman, man. All right, so that's all. That's, you know, like that's it's nothing else to do, man. You know, long story short, there's nothing else to do but try to work our way into salvation. I'm actively working for my salvation, man. I remember the fear tactic and all that, of the hell doctrine. You know, that worked quite well on me. You know, and I'm still to this day fighting and actively serving on how about outside to the best of my knowledge, my ability, as to not go into that fiery judgment. Still, all right, we got to endure unto the end to be saved, man. You know, we ain't got it made, but we on the right track, man. You know, for salvation, you know, which is going to come with so many other things, man. All right, this is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 12. Put on, therefore, as the elect of the Most High, Yahweh, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering. Yeah, man. So we putting on as the elect, man. All right, those people who gonna get saved, what are they doing? Because we know what the people who gonna get destroyed, we know what they doing. They partying and bullshit, marrying and giving in marriage. Well, the people who gonna get saved out of this place, what are they gonna be doing? They gonna be condemning this man in front of his face, man. Esau Edom. I condemn telling you, Jakes, that y'all going off. You know. So continue to do that, man. That's why we here. We here to fight to be on the right hand side of the script, man. We here to fight to be on Yahweh Shem Shai's salvation team, man. You know. And only way we can do that is following the example of our leaders, our elders, our teachers, and doing it ourselves in truth and sincerity, man. Constantly, day by day, polishing and becoming a better man, a renewed man in Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, so, hey, Lord willing, Yahweh Shem Shai Radazah, the lesson was edifying, correct, and direct. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, Bahasham, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom to the brothers and the very few sisters seeking and pushing. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, Bahasham, Rakakodash, in truth and sincerity. Shalom, Wakwam, Yasharallah, and the Baba.